Welcome to Redeeming Sense. This channel talks about all things money, and it functions under the umbrella of the parent company Solisyon Lavi Life Solutions, whose mission is to equip people to move from a place of a negative mindset to a place of positive action, which would help them to improve themselves, improve their families, their communities, their states, their countries, and even the entire world. It is our firm belief that if you self transcend, if you evolve and you improve yourself, then everyone around you will be impacted by it. And so, as we talk about money, we want to start there and we want to begin on this very first Monday of December 2024. This is December 2nd, 2024. We want to begin on this Monday to ask you to journey with us to see if you can start using your money differently in a way that will benefit you and others. For this episode, we'd like to focus on this one phrase: it's my fault versus it's not my fault. This may sound like I'm teaching you to blame yourself, but that's not the intention at all. The intention is to get you, to motivate you to own your financial responsibilities, because the things that happen in your life financially, they not only affect you, but they also affect others, those around you, and even those who aren't close to you. Everyone is affected by your financial decisions. So we say it's not my fault. We're saying it's my fault. It's my fault that things are exactly where they are today. Why do we say that? Well, whether well or ill, I have options. If circumstances are rosy or they're dark, I have options. If there is sickness or there is health, I have options. I have choices. If there is plenty or if there is want or little, I have options. I have choices to make. And so my circumstances are exactly where they are based on decisions that were made in the past. My financial situation is exactly where it is today based on financial choices made in the past. Those choices may have been your own choices, they may have been somebody else's choices, but they were choices. And those choices, whether you were the ones who made them or someone else made them, you still have to take responsibility for where you are today. Why? If you don't take responsibility for where you are today, then you'll never leave where you are. So, unless you feel totally at peace with where you are, that you feel like, wow, my financial situation is amazing. So, unless that's the case, then you're going to have to take ownership. And even if that's the case, I would say to you that I bet you can improve your situation. So, for us to address this idea of owning your financial responsibilities, we have three questions we would like for you to ask yourself. The first question is, where am I now? The second, where am I going? And the third, what obstacles are in my way? Where am I now? Where am I going? What obstacles are in my way? So, where am I now? This first question is really addressing origin. It's seeking to establish a place, a location of where you are, because it's just like if we're going somewhere, and I don't know whether you're driving, but if you intend to drive and you intend to leave New York and go to Florida on a trip, then the navigation system needs to know where you are. It needs to know your current location so that we could enter that into the navigation system, and then it will start giving you directions so that you know where to go. So unless you have a current location, you need to have an address of some kind, then you'll never quite know where to go. You won't know whether you need to turn left or right, and so forth. You may perhaps go in a general direction, but you won't have clear directions and you won't have peace about it. And I would like for you to have peace surrounding your financial decisions. So, what are some things to think about in answering the question, where am I now? You need to think about your age. Um, like, how old am I? Because there are decisions you can make today based on your age that will be different. Let's say if you are 15, or if you're 20, or if you're 25, those decisions will be different than if you were 50 or 60 or 75. Okay, so those are going to be different. So, what is my age? You can say, what is my income? So, what's coming in? Do I have a job? Um, and then, what is my vocation? And there's a difference between vocation and a job or a career. So, for example, for me, my vocation is to encourage people, whereas my profession is to teach music or to teach finance. So that's very different. So I can encourage people through my music instruction, or I can encourage people through my financial instruction, but my vocation is encouragement. So you see what I'm saying. Other things to think about is, as you're saying, like, where am I now? Um, do I have do I have any dreams? Do I have any goals? Do I have any debt? Do I have any investments? Um, do I have a contract? Do I have all the things at all that you can think of that are financially based? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself and answer, and you can write them down so that you have a clear picture. We call that an inventory, by the way. And so, if you need some ideas on how to inventory your life to answer that question, please comment PDF and we can send that to you so that you know what to do. Okay? So that's the first question. Where am I now? The second question is like, where am I going? It doesn't matter where you are. For you to go somewhere, you're going to need specific directions. And so, in that same navigation system, we can't just have your current location. We need to put in the address of the place where you're going. So, like we said in our earlier example, if you're leaving New York to go to Florida or something like that, then we have a sense of what your current location is, and then we're going to enter the Florida address so that you can start moving the car in that direction. So in the same way, let's think of different places that people often go to or want to go to without really knowing why. So one place that a lot of people go is to a place called dependence. So what is dependence? That's a place where other people take care of you. So you want to buy a dress, then you go to someone to buy you that dress. Or you need to pay the bills, whatever they may be. You go to someone else to pay that for you. You need to go to the hospital. You go to someone else to do that for you. So we call that place dependence. And then some people go to a different place called paycheck to paycheck. So that place, that's where what comes in goes right back out. So that before it even walks in, it's already out. And so in your life, it's just like this: money in, money out, money in, money out, money in, money out. We call that the hamster's wheel. You never quite go anywhere. You are exhausting yourself, but you never quite go anywhere. You don't reach any specific financial goals because you're just going like this. So that's a destination that a lot of people go to. How do you get there? Well, by not paying attention. That's one way you get there. Another place that you could go to is a place that I call solvability, where you know that you can solve all your bills, that you can pay all your bills or all your financial obligations are met. And then there's just a tiny little bit of money left over. So if you have a checking account, a savings account, something like that, after you pay all your bills, you realize that, oh wow, I only have $10 left, or I only have $50 left, or something like that. So that's barely scraping by. Why is that not a good idea to go to a place like that? Well, because there are emergencies. Sometimes the car may break down, and what are you going to do about that? Sometimes a terrible disease may befall you, and then you don't have, maybe the insurance doesn't cover everything, and so you're going to have to find that money somewhere. So it's important to think of another place to go. And so we we go to another place where you have an emergency fund that is set up for you, where you have at least 3 months worth of expenses that's just set aside. So, in other words, let's say your financial obligations amount to, let's say, $2,000 a month or something like that. Then we're going to say 2 times 3, that's 6. So you would need $6,000 in that emergency fund. So that we would put it in a high yield savings account. We can talk about that some more if you need more explanation. But we can put it in a high yield savings account so that it's at least earning some good interest while it's there, just giving you peace of mind. That's the reason that we go to that place. So what if we would like for you to have a better margin in your life? Then we can bump that up to $6,000. Sorry, from 6 to $12,000. So that would be 6 months. Or you can go from $12,000 to $24,000. So that would be a whole year. Or you can go from 24,000 to 48,000. Okay, so that you can just keep going until you go to a place where you live in abundance, where you have 25 times that amount or more. So we're seeing that there are many different places to go to. So if you're trying to go to a place where you want to have $6,000 as your margin, or you would like $1,000,000 as your margin, or $10,000,000 or $1,billion as your margin, so the directions are going to be vastly different because that destination is different. Does that make sense? And so what I would recommend is to actually take the time and think through, okay, what are my dreams? What are my goals? What are some things that I've always wanted to be, or I've always wanted to do, or wanted to become? And so you put those things down. So you have your current location, where am I now? You have your destination, where am I going? And then you go to the third question, what obstacles are in my way? What are the things that prevent me from reaching those very goals that I aspire to? And so these are my this is my take on that question. What obstacles? So some of the things that I think are obstacles in our way, it's the lack of planning. We don't plan. We just say, oh, I wish I could. Okay, so we just lament, but we don't plan. So that's a huge obstacle. Lack of vision. We don't have a vision. We don't even have a sense of where we're going. Okay, we're just drifting. So if you are a drifter in life, you're just sort of existing, then you're going to have a hard time. The people in your life need you to have a vision, to have a mission, to have a place to go, so that you will know what steps to take, so that your navigation system can direct you. You can have a rudder to steer you where you need to go. And then lack of knowledge. I would say that that's a big part of it. You know, in I Am a Christian, in the book of Hosea, we learned that the Lord says that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And I think the financial ruin, financial destruction that we see a lot in our communities, they stem from a lack of knowledge. And so, what are the things that we don't know? We don't know what money is. We don't know. We don't know so many things about money that we don't know. And there are four main pillars about money that I think everybody should know about. And so the four pillars are assets, liabilities, expenses, and revenue. So those are the four pillars. So what is an asset? An asset is a system that puts money in your pocket or in your bank account. Um, so that's money that comes to you whether you're working or not, whether you're awake or not. It's just working for you constantly. So we call that an asset. What is a liability? A liability is a system that takes money away from you, whether you're asleep or not, whether you're, I mean, it's constantly working against you. So an asset is working for you and working with you. And then a liability is working against you, and it's a system. And then what is an expense? An expense is basically all the money that goes out from a lack of budgeting, monies that go out in a regular way. That, for example, you have things like your rent or your mortgage or your tuition payment or your insurance payment, like all those utility bills, all those things that you pay every month, like those are expenses. And so, like, when we don't control them, we can get to a place where that goes out of proportion. It goes wild. And then the final pillar is your revenue. So your revenue is money that's coming your way in a regular interval. And so that's like when you are earning money from wages and salaries. So you're working at a specific company, and then you receive that money maybe every 2 weeks or every uh, or twice a month or once a month or something like that. So those four pillars, when we don't really understand how they function, we don't know what they are, that can actually destroy us. And so that we don't have a very long video as our very first episode, I just wanted to recap for you very quickly. We say that this is really about owning your financial responsibilities, and we say that just get used to the phrase, it's my fault, which means that I am going to do something about my current situation. And we say that there are three questions that you need to ask in order for you to do something about it. The first question is, where am I now? We talked about those origin questions. Where am I going? We talked about some different places that you can go, from dependence to total abundance. And then we talk about some obstacles that you have in your way, a lack of vision, a lack of planning, a lack of knowledge, okay, a lack of discipline. That's another one that I think is an obstacle in our way. So now that you've heard these three main questions and my take on it, what is your take on these things? What from that particular presentation really spoke to you? Let us know. Like we said, if you want some more information on how to inventory your life to know what your current situation is, do comment PDF. And as Redeeming Sense is a brand new, just a brand new channel, I encourage you to like, to share, and to subscribe so that more information can go to more people in our communities so that we can leave that place of a negative mindset where we don't know what we're doing with our money to a place where we can start making positive choices, really great actions. So I hope to see you in the next video when we will talk more about the motivation to grow.